Joining us on the line right now, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, former Florida congressman, currently the president and CEO of the National Center for Policy Analysis. Lieutenant Colonel West, good to have you. I got some analysis that I want you to do on developments in the last 24 hours or so. Here's the bottom line. 44 world leaders locked arms in Paris and marched in solidarity with the people of France. And our president apparently stayed home to watch football. We didn't send the Secretary of State. We didn't send the Vice President. The Attorney General was in Paris and apparently did not participate in the march. Your thoughts?
Well, the Attorney General decided to skip out of town and not participate in the march. I mean, he was there in Paris. So I believe what you see, and Happy New Year to you guys, Brian and Larry.
Same to you, Colonel. Thank you.
It's a complete abdication of a role of leadership on the global stage. Here you have the President of the United States of America, Barack Obama, supposedly the leader of the free world, and he was AWOL. And if the President can use Air Force One to fly down to Knoxville, Tennessee, and talk about free community college education, how is it possible that somehow you cannot fly over to Paris to, if Mahmoud Abbas and Benjamin Netanyahu are in that same front row, the leaders of Germany, France, England are there as well as the Russian Prime Minister, how is it that the President of the United States of America, nor the Vice President, nor Secretary of Defense, nor Secretary of State, no representation? There were 3 members from the Obama administration that were sent to the funeral for Michael Brown in St. Louis. And so if this is not a priority for this administration, which it seems it is not, and if Eric Holder could not stand and say that we are at war against Islamic terrorism and jihadism yesterday when he failed to do so on 2 shows, that shows that this administration is not serious about this issue.
Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, as we face 2016 and many people trying to line up to potentially become the nominee for president for the Republican Party as well as the Democratic Party, I feel, and I wonder if you agree, that this event this weekend could be a seminal turning point on what will be a major discussion point for who our next president is. I wonder if you could chime in on that, whether the next president and whoever wants to be president needs to make the war on terror and the war on radical Islamic terror in particular front and center in their campaigns.
Well, you're absolutely right. First of all, Larry, war on terror is a horrible misnomer. We should stop using that because a nation cannot go to war to fight against a tactic. That would be saying World War II is against the kamikaze or the blitzkrieg. What we are talking about is Islamofascism, Islamic totalitarianism. As a matter of fact, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi clearly defined what has to happen. We have to confront the ideology. And he did an incredible job on a New Year's Day speech at the center, the main center for Islamic jurisprudence there in Egypt. But you're right. The number one title of the President of the United States of America is Commander-in-Chief. I mean, you can get smart folks to do the right things for most of the domestic policy recommendations, being tax policy, overall economic policy, healthcare policy. But when it comes to who can sit down at a table and talk about protecting the American people and developing the right type of national security strategy, that comes back to one person. That's the President of the United States of America, and that's the person that was absent yesterday in Paris, France. So I do believe that foreign policy and national security is going to pick up and be a little bit more important of an issue because if you make the American people prosperous, it does not matter if they don't feel safe.
Colonel West, quick follow-up, because knowing who is thinking about running for president, honestly, if I posed that same question to them here on Mornings on the Mall, I would not have gotten such a succinct and to-the-point answer, let alone properly pronouncing the leader of Egypt's name. If you don't see someone emerging, will you join the conversation for a run for president so that this issue will be at the forefront?
Well, I'm already president. I'm president and CEO of National Center for Policy Analysis, and I just
what I mean. I'm not trying to do a gotcha moment, but I'm serious. If this is not a topic of conversation and dealt with seriously, we need a voice like yours, don't you think?
Well, this is the thing. Right now I'm in a great position to try and influence policy and have that platform by which I can speak on, shows like yours. But I think it's going to be critical for the American people to make the right type of decision. We cannot continue down the path of Chamberlains. We have got to find a Churchill, and that's going to be very important. And again, if we are truly a leader on the global stage, we should not have been absent yesterday. And so my focus right now is, since I just started this position 2nd January, to really impact the policy direction for this country, and the American people will decide what type of person they want to lead them.
All right. Now, let me ask you this. The outgoing chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Dianne Feinstein, on the Sunday talk shows this weekend says that she believes that there are terror cells inside this country. Now, I don't think that she did that cavalierly. I think she did that, and other people agree, by the way. I think she did that to sort of send a message. What do you read into that?
Well, it's very interesting, and it's kind of ironic because this is the same Dianne Feinstein who a month ago released a scathing report about the CIA, and now she's telling everyone that we have Islamic terrorist organizations, freely operating in our country. And Sean Hannity did a report about this on Fox, so this is common knowledge. So it's time that we stop playing the gimmicks of politics like she did with this partisan Senate Democrat report on the CIA, and we all need to start facing reality. And I think the most important person that needs to face the reality of the enemy is the President of the United States of America. He made a poor strategic decision in Iraq, and look who filled that gap is ISIS, and we're not dealing with ISIS. Everyone knows you can't do it by air operations. We'll wait and see what happens with Afghanistan. But the fact that here domestically we are not confronting this enemy, when you have organizations like the Council for American Islamic Relations, who has an office right there on Capitol Hill, they're an unindicted co-conspirator in the largest Islamic terrorist funding case, the Holy Land Foundation trial. They have former members that are key advisors in the Obama administration. They are linked to the Muslim Brotherhood. Nidal Hassan, we still call that workplace violence, even though he's been convicted and sentenced. Something has to change in this administration, but more so, something has to change within the American people.
Colonel West, real fast, we've only got less than a minute left, but you did spend a couple of years here in Washington, D.C. as a politician. You know people on the other side of the aisle, many who disagree with you, but some of them are sympathetic despite their party affiliation. Do you expect to hear some Democrats today speaking out against the president's absence in Paris? Do you think that they'll do that?
I would hope that they would put country before party. I have done that on many occasions, and that's why I'm not up there in Washington, D.C. So I would hope that they would do that.
All right. Colonel West.
Colonel North, good to have you always.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Thank you, Colonel West.
The North is the other guy.
I know. We got a lot of directional places on the compass here represented in the U.S. Army.
North?
You did.
Gosh, I'm
you got
sorry.
Ali on the mind.
I'm sorry, Alan. West, there's so many points of the compass.
Thank you, sir.
No worries. You can do push-ups later.
I'd like to watch that.
No, that actually may not be possible.